Kala Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Brakat Yahweh, Brakat Yahweh Shai, Brakat Yahweh, Brakat Yahweh Shai, Brakat Yahweh, Brakat Yahweh Shai, the Wada, Gabal, Gabal, Go Kadash. I'd like to give double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone that teaches us truth, which we know is 100% truth. Um, this word, man, this word of the Lord, this gospel of ours, you know, only thing we do is we repeat what the Lord has given us to repeat, from the Bible. We amplify his word, his prophecies, his scriptures, his laws, statutes, commandments. And one thing about this truth, man, it's bitter and sweet. It starts off with the sweet part, knowing that first of all that you're an Israelite. And everybody can most people can consume that part. But the bitter part is the trials that you have to go through and the harsh truth that you have to deliver that people don't want to hear. Because one thing about this truth, man, it's like medicine. Medicine doesn't taste good. A lot of times going down, but it heals. Like your bitter herbs. You eat your bitter herbs, it kind of give you a sour taste in your mouth or whatever, but it heals. So same way with this truth. That's why the Lord always dealt with his men, not the women. The Lord always dealt with the men. That's why the men are the prophets of the Lord. The Lord called for the women to pretty much take a backseat to her men. It's not just me, it's not me saying it's just what the Lord says. It's what the Lord has declared. A lot of times women, even though as mean as they can be, they're not able to accept the truth of this Bible, man. They're not able to accept the harsh judgment that's going to fall on these other nations and 2/3 of our people. And that's why the Lord tells you men to gird up your loins, man, because this a lot of us has been raised by women. We know we raised up mostly in a matriarchal society, and they teach you the soft things. They give you this image of Jesus Christ. It's a rascal Christmas. This blonde hair. Caesar Borgia character, blue eyes, all soft and feminine looking. He's going to come back and it's just going to be a smooth, easy transition. That's not according to the Lord, man. This word is ruthless, is vicious, is sweet at the same time, but it's vicious also. Because it has to be. It has to be a balance. You look at the things that's unfolding today, that's being revealed, what these elites, these wicked, what they do behind closed doors, man. And that's just a small sample of it. That's just a small sample that we're getting at what they do behind closed doors. With coming from the PDF files or we call it called e-files. And a lot of people have a hard time stomaching that. But we have to digest that, man. We're going to have to receive all of that in order to grow in this truth, man, because it's going to be vicious. It's going to be ugly out here. It's going to be a lot of death. It's going to be a lot of destruction. And the Lord's coming to hand out that same type of judgment that these people have been doing, man. He's going to hand out a judgment that's going to balance out to what the things that they've been doing behind closed doors. So it's going to be ugly. It's not going to be a pretty picture. And the Lord is building us up for that. And we're here to testify to that, man. A lot of people say, no, I can't accept this truth that it doesn't say that white people can be saved or Chinese people or these other nations can't be saved. And that's why a lot of these women have a hard time with this truth. You have men too, a lot of feminine men as well. But the women really have a hard time with that. But that's why the Lord has a select few people that he chooses to deliver his word, man, this word of prophecy. And that's the ugly truth of it. It's beautiful at the same time to see this judgment that's going to be handed out to these heathen. And so all that takes me to the book of Isaiah, man. I was just listening to that recently, just a few minutes ago. And it was getting heavy, man, especially when you go into chapter 13, man. Really heavy. But it's talking about the judgment that's going to be handed out, man. But you have to think about all the wicked things that have been happening and done to our people. And Jake is so easy to forgive and say, well, that was back then, you know, yada, yada, yada. You know how Jake is, man. Jake is always forgiving. The Lord is not just forgiving like that. The Lord is about balance. He's about handing out justice. Only one that can deliver from the justice is you Israelites, you so-called Black, Hispanics, Native Americans. That's why the Lord went and made that ultimate sacrifice for us so we could be redeemed from the sins that we've done. For you Israelites, not for these other nations, man. Even though you got Israelites out here teaching that all nations can be saved. No, this is not for them. This is for you Israelites. And so let me go ahead and start reading these precepts, man. But we're going to get deep and heavy into this Isaiah 13. So we start off in 12. Behold, Yahweh is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. For the Lord, Yahweh, is my strength of my song. He also become my salvation. So we're not going to be afraid in these times because it's going to get real dark and ugly out here. You know, all hell's going to break loose. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be sedition amongst men when you go into what is it, 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and St. Matthew's chapter 24 goes deep and heavy into that. So we're going to really need our faith and rely on our Lord to deliver us, because some of the things that's going to be seen here on earth, man, it's going to scare the fuck out a lot of people, man. Excuse my language. But this truth is, this truth, man, people have a hard time with harsh words, man. But this truth is not all smooth and buttery, man. People like to gloss over the hard parts, but it's brutal. So we're going to go to verse 5. Still chapter 12, verse 5. Sing unto the Lord Yahweh, for he hath done excellent things. This is known in all the earth. Cut out and shout, thou inhabitants of Zion. And that's what the brothers are doing. That's out in the highways and byways, you know, the media, social media, that's preaching the word of the Lord, man. It's pushing this word out there. A lot of people don't want to hear this word because it's so brutal at times, man. They don't want to hear that a woman can't lead the church, man, that she's supposed to take her place behind her man. And that's absurd authority over the man. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that these other nations can't be saved. So a lot of people, that's going to be a stumbling block to a lot of people. They don't want to hear the name being Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Yahweh being the Father, Yahweh Shah being the Son. They still want to believe in that Jesus Christ's name, man. And that's a lot of you Israelites. So we go down to Isaiah chapter 13, verse 3. I have commanded my sanctified ones. No, we go back up. Let me go up, Shalakia, to verse 1. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift thee up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. That means going into the elites, man. They're going to go in there. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones of mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. So he's going to use these other nations, man, to deliver that justice, that beat down on Babylon, man. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, and as a great people, a tumultuous noise, the kingdom of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the hosts of the battle. So he's gathering all these nations together, man. The Lord is separating them to come and go after Babylon the Great, man, for all the wickedness that she's done. Mainly on the Israelites, on the tribes, man. Verse 5. They come from far country, from the end of heaven. Shalak, my back killing me. For the Lord of hosts, together the Lord of hosts mustereth the hosts of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven. The Lord of the weapons of the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. whole land of Babylon the Great, modern day America. How ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand, it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore, verse 7, therefore shall the hands of the faint and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid, pains and sorrow shall take hold upon them. They shall be pained as a woman that travaileth, that shall be amazed one at another, and their faces shall be as flames. So it's going to be a lot of fear, man, especially if people going to be like a scared woman, man. You're not going to be able to tell the men from the women for the way they're going to be cowering down in fear. Behold, the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh, cruel both with wrath, cruel, man, but both with wrath, fierce, and anger, to lay of the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Talking about Babylon the Great. We're going to drop down to 11. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Who's the proud, man? You see a lot of these Babylonians, man, very proud right now. They're very proud, man. But such what they went down and did down to Venezuela and these other nations, like boasting, who's going to stop us? We're going to take whatever the fuck we want. Pretty much so, they hold the nose up, look down, and just got that real proud look, man. And I will make a man, verse 12, pay attention, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. So that's something that's real precious, man. Like, it's going to be a rarity. And who's talking about the men that's going to be precious? It's going to be the men of the Lord, man. The men of the Lord is going to be precious. He didn't say women. He said man going to be precious and fine gold. And that's why these women who've done what the Lord asked them to do, they're going to seek out these men. All these women are going to seek out these men. The only one's going to be saved out of it is the women who have done what the Lord has asked them to do. Those proud women, man, they're going to be rejected. They're going to be destroyed right along with 2/3. Right now, you got women so boastful and proud because they have a society where they can be boastful and proud, where they can talk shit and, don't worry about any repercussions, man. And that day is coming to an end real soon, man. Verse 13, therefore will I shake the heavens, and the earth shall move out of their place in the wrath of the Lord Yahweh, Lord of hosts, and in that day of his fierce anger. How is the earth going to shake? When they release some ICBM missiles or nuclear missiles. And the Medes is talking about the Russians and, the Russians and the Iranians. Right now you see what's going down over there in Iran, man. So we're very close to that time. And it shall be, verse 15, and everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword, man. And when some of the sword is talking about any type of killing instrument. It just says sword, but a sword would be them ICBM missiles, those nuclear warheads. It could be a gun, it could be a regular sword, Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. And that's the hard part women have a hard problem with. They talk about taking the children and dashing them to pieces, man. Before their eyes, their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives are going to be ravished. And that's the hard part of this gospel, man. There's the smooth part that all these church pastors like to gloss over. But this is what's going to happen. This is going to be the lay of the land. This is what's going to go down in the land. There's going to be a lot of death, destruction. The smell of death is going to be in the air. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, and their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms. And who's the glory of all the kingdoms right now? All the nations have been looking up to. Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees. Excellency shall, as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. That's how it's going to be, like the time of Sodom and Gomorrah, what he did to that place. That's what he's going to do to Babylon the Great and our homeland. Over there where those small hatters like to hang out and pretend, the apostles are at. So this place is going to be a desolate wasteland. So we drop down to verse 21. The wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and the owls shall dwell there, and the satyrs shall dance there, and the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and the dragons, talking like lizards, stuff that you normally see in the desert. And their pleasant places, and time is near to come, and a day shall not be prolonged. So you're almost at that time, man. We're at the time of the Lord bringing judgment to Babylon the Great for all the wickedness she's done and gotten away with over the years, or thinks she's gotten away with. So go to verse 14. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. So we're going to return back to our own land during that time. So I took that and I plugged it into ChatGPT. And ChatGPT like to try to give you an easy breakdown and try to say it's not going to happen now, but it is talking about it. So let me see. I plugged it in. It's ChatGPT, historical context. It's talking about the destruction of Babylon, which time was neither rising nor yet as it is peak power. The prophecy was fulfilled when the Medes and Persians withdrew Babylon. It's not talking about that time. It's talking about now. Because it's talking about now when Yahushua is coming back, and we're going to be delivered to our homeland. So how is it talking about during that time? Everyone that is found shall be thrust through. This describes slaughter during invasion. No escape for those remaining in the city. Ancient warfare was brutal, so it's trying to say it was ancient warfare. This is going to be this is a future prophecy, man. This is what's going to happen now. Their children dashed to pieces, wives ravished. This is not God commanding his people to do this. This is prophetic description of what the invading armies historically did in ancient Near East. They still do that today. Anytime we go over there and take over a nation, you don't think the women get ravished and stuff that they do to the kids. Isaiah chapter 13:17, I will stir up the Medes. This identifies a historical instrument of judgment, the Medes, latter allied with Persia, which shall not regard silver and gold. They shall not delight in it, meaning they were not coming merely for plunder, they were coming to overthrow. This aligns historically with Babylon's sudden collapse. Now, it's not talking about ancient Babylon, so we have to keep that in mind. Isaiah chapter 13:18, ruthlessness of invading army, no mercy even for children. This shows the severity of judgment language. Verse 19, Babylon shall be as when God, Yahweh, overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. This is key. It shifts from military conquest to total permanent desolation. Babylon declined and eventually became ruins. The chapter shows God judges empires that exalt themselves, wealthy and glory, and do not prevent collapse. Nations can be instruments of divine judgment. That's what he's going to use. He's going to use the Russians. He's going to use Moab and the Iranians, all these other nations, man, to punish Babylon the Great. And when it goes back to the sanctified ones, sanctified here does not mean morally holy people. It means set apart for a purpose, appointed instruments. Historically, this refers to the Medes and the Persians. The army of God that's going to use to overthrow modern day Babylon. Let me put something there real quick. So this is not for the faint of heart, man. It's gonna be like the worst. What's the movies? Them what they call them gore movies? The worst gore movie ever made, man. It's gonna it'll surpass Sodom and Gomorrah in any other time. But that's pretty much it, man. I'm gonna go through here and do some more studying. But Lord will is edifying with that. Say shalom.